You know, I couldn't really think of anyone better to come on with us and talk a little MMA other than Luke Thomas, the senior editor of SB Nation and the host of MMA Nation on 106.7 The Fan. Luke, how are you today?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for coming on. Junior Dos Santos, let's start with him. The man known as Chicano, as Jesus told me prior to the show. He's climbed up the ranks from being in the slums of Brazil. He's fighting Cain Velasquez, an unbelievable story from the 27-year-old. Obviously, he goes for the knockout. He has a lot of boxing skills. What else does he contain?
He's a little bit lopsided in his skill set in that regard. Unlike Velasquez, who he is facing, not to say he's not well-rounded, I mean he is, but he doesn't seem to have the same aptitude for wrestling as he does for striking, whereas Velasquez seems to be pretty excellent at both. That being said, boxing is, it's a pretty large statement, right? It's not like he's got one punch or he relies heavily on just power alone. Mm-hmm. He's got a pretty decent arsenal of a jab. He's got good footwork. He's got really strong uppercuts and has devastating power. And good speed, too. So he's a good athlete. And, when I say the word boxing, we should be mindful of just how expansive a term that is. But beyond that, we don't really know much about his jiu-jitsu game, although I don't think Velasquez is really going to test it anyway. And he has so far shown decent defensive wrestling, but not against the kind of guys who have the takedown ability of Cain Velasquez. So still a few unanswered questions. I hope to have some answers for you next time we talk.
Well, with his boxing skills, I see a huge similarity between the actual professional boxers, because as you said, he loves to work off the jab. He keeps a very good distance against him and his opponents. He's a good counterpuncher. It seems like it should be a very good fight. Have you seen any nervousness on the side of Junior Dos Santos?
I don't know if nervousness I've seen, but he bailed on an interview with me yesterday, which tells me he's probably a little fatigued with the build-up. I don't know that will actually have any difference on fight night. But no, I don't think he's nervous. I think guys at this level are junkyard dogs, particularly guys who come from poor backgrounds and are on the biggest opportunity of their life. I mean, he will have nerves relative to the same sort of nerves that Velasquez will have or any other fighter in his position would have. But again, I don't think it's the kind of nerves that will ultimately dictate who wins or loses.
We're going to get to Cain Velasquez in a second. Junior Dos Santos, can you tell me a little bit about his coach? I don't want to pronounce this incorrectly, but Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, I believe his name is pronounced. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Yeah, Nogueira. Nogueira is a legend in MMA. Nogueira is the former Pride heavyweight champion. He's a guy who's been around for a very long time. They're both originally from Salvador Bahia, Brazil, which is basically the home of capoeira, former slave colony. And it's a place it's certainly grown up. It's a place like Carnival, they're both kind of similar in that way. Happy-go-lucky people who are just absolute murderers when it comes to fighting. But Nogueira has primarily been known for outstanding jiu-jitsu, where, Dos Santos is not. And Nogueira had a decent run in the UFC, but is sort of over the hill. More interestingly, Nogueira was defeated by Velasquez, which earned Velasquez the title shot against Brock Lesnar. There's a little bit of storyline there. It should just be noted, though, fight fans love Nogueira. He is a legend among that group because he's basically been in the trenches in incredible wars where the guy is put on the brink of defeat and comes back. So he probably has a lot of important lessons to impart on Dos Santos apart from technique, and I think he certainly stands as an example and an inspiring figure for Dos Santos as he heads into this weekend's bout.
And of course, Nogueira, as you said, lost to Cain Velasquez. That was UFC 110. Heading to the champion now, Cain Velasquez. Of course, everybody knows he tore his rotator cuff after the fight, or possibly during the fight, against Brock Lesnar last October when he won the UFC heavyweight championship. Do you expect any rust from him being away from the cage this long?
It's a great question, and everyone asks. I don't think I expect probably maybe his timing might be off early, but honestly, I don't really think there's going to be that much here for Cain Velasquez to lose. Let it be known, though, that I've actually had the same exact injuries that Velasquez has had and the same surgeries. Now, let it also be known that I am absolutely no Cain Velasquez, but the surgeries are difficult. I mean, he was out for a long time because the shoulder is an incredibly complex part of the human body that has different tendons and bones and it is responsible for pushing and pulling at a huge range of motion. The surgery is difficult. You heard Velasquez talking, he couldn't even run, and that was given the same instruction. Just the bounce on your shoulder could cause damage. But Velasquez was a couple of things. Number one, before he was injured, he was way ahead of the game. So I think even with a little bit of time off, he's probably still in a good place. But Velasquez is also the kind of guy that trains hard and bars hard. And when you do that, yeah, there might be some issues if you take off too long, particularly on consecutive bouts, like if you take a year and then another year. But just 1 year for a guy like this, I suspect he'll be within 30 seconds to maybe a minute. Any kind of issue he has will pretty much be over. Plus, I think he's going to fight a more instinctual fight. I don't know that he's going to strike that much with Dos Santos. He's going to try to wrestle with him, think a little bit more, or at least mix it up. And wrestling is such a natural skill for him. Remember, two-time All-American out of Arizona State. He should be able to fight in a way where rust won't have a dominating influence.
Of course, the fight taking place in Anaheim, California. Could you make the argument that this will be a pro-Cain Velasquez crowd with a high Mexican and Hispanic population here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, when he fought Lesnar the first time, anyone who was in attendance at UFC 121 can tell you there was a huge, if not a predominant, amount of audience members of Hispanic origin. It should be noted, though, in fairness to great Mexican fighters, of which Velasquez is one. The biggest Mexican star fighting this weekend is Juan Manuel Marquez. Not that I have anything against Velasquez, I do not, but Marquez is a significantly bigger Mexican star than Velasquez is. That being said, Velasquez hasn't been around as long. MMA is newer to that community, so yeah, I think there'll be definitely some positive support for him. Latino media will be there, but I think Latino media will probably be more in attendance for the Pacquiao-Marquez fight, and I think more Mexican fight fans will be paying attention to the Marquez-Pacquiao fight. That being said, of course, this fight should end before that bout even takes place, so we'll see what happens.
Let's talk some strategy here, Luke. You've been around this game for a while. You've seen a lot of good fighters. What should be Cain Velasquez's plan of attack against Junior Dos Santos?
I don't think striking with him on the outside, not that Cain can't win that way, but that's certainly not the best way for him to win. In my judgment, he needs to use his two skills that are, or at least one skill and one asset that really he has over Velasquez or Dos Santos. Number one, wrestling, as I mentioned before, two-time All-American out of a storied program at Arizona State. And it should be noted that Velasquez wrestled in an era of collegiate wrestling where you had dominant heavyweights at the top. Steve Mocco being one of them. He could have been a national champion in a different year or two, but be that as it may, we have certainly seen some decent defensive wrestling from Dos Santos, but we haven't seen guys try to take him down who have Velasquez's skills. But I think the most important part here is pushing the pace. You don't have to be the world's best fighter, but if you can be a good or even a great fighter in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, while a really great fighter fades over rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5, the really good one is going to win 9 times out of 10. And I think that's what we have here. Junior Dos Santos is a dangerous guy. I think in that first round, and even in that second, maybe even the third, but the first and second one, he's going to have and create some tense moments for Cain Velasquez. He's probably going to hurt him. He may even rock him. He may even take him down. But the reality is, if Cain Velasquez can mix it up, strike a little bit, wrestle a little bit, force Dos Santos into defensive postures, even if he doesn't get the takedown that is Velasquez, force Dos Santos to search for double underhooks against the fence. Because I noted in that Dos Santos-Carwin fight, the jab and the hook that Dos Santos had were great in the second round, but they didn't really have the same kind of steam, and that's why a guy like Carwin was able to hang around. I think that if Velasquez can really take this fight deep, push into the 4th and 5th rounds, he will be able to break Dos Santos with his pace. All that said, he could also get knocked out in 30 seconds. That's how dangerous Dos Santos is.
Well, Luke, there are a lot of question marks I have for Dos Santos, 2 of them being How good is his ground game, and how good is his wrestling overall? I mean, what's your take on those two?
We don't know. We don't know. We know that he is a brown belt under Nogueira, which, by the way, is when you know, there are, how do I put this? There are black belts in your town, right? And then there are world-class black belts. And a world-class black belt will make a normal black belt look like a complete amateur. You know, I would not call Junior Dos Santos a world-class black belt because he has not competed on any kind of stage to that extent. But what I would say is getting a brown belt underneath Nogueira is not an easy feat. So we have some reason to believe he's got some skills. The other part of wrestling is we don't know. We've seen guys try to take him down. Carwin, who was a Division II national champion, tried, but Carwin's 36, and I never found his attempts to be that great. Gabriel Gonzaga tried briefly, but he's not a wrestler at all. Again, he looks to be pretty strong. He looks to have good technique, and he's been training with some national champions down in Brazil. He imported some from imported American national champions down to Brazil for his camp. That can only help. But you know, no one mixes it up like Cain. You can get better wrestlers than Cain down there, but you can't get guys who can mix the two better than Cain. And I think that probably will be the difference.
UFC President Dana White has called this fight, and I quote, the biggest fight in UFC history. How big is it for this sport to finally reach the national stage on Fox?
It's huge. In fact, it's what the sport really needs to go anywhere. I don't know that the sport can get any higher or any bigger on its current platforms, and it's doing all right, but it really needs that extra push. It needs that extra motivation. It needs that extra oomph that Fox can give, and I think only Fox can give. I don't know that CBS or NBC or ABC or ESPN could really do for UFC what Fox can. Fox can deliver, you know, the kind of creativity and experimentation that have made the NFL a big success there, or NASCAR. NHL didn't work out so much, but it's the same kind of spirit of bringing the fan closer to the experience that they need. And moreover, it helps with the UFC's model, which has historically been their top revenue generator, being pay-per-view. This enables them to reduce the number of pay-per-views, which fans frankly think are too many, and it gives them a chance to relax the wallet. On top of that, it promotes guys. You're not going to see, I don't think, George St. Pierre fighting on Fox, but you'll see guys that need just that extra push, guys who are almost stars, like Cain Velasquez, like John Jones, and it's going to make them pay-per-view attractions. That is the aim here. And, listen, I don't think the whole sport hinges on tomorrow's fight. It's a 7-year deal, but this is the experiment. How big can MMA get, and can the UFC and Fox do it the right way?
Very quickly for you, Luke. Rumor has it Cain Velasquez's stamina and endurance is very, very good. Do you expect this fight to go the distance?
Well, I would say there's a healthy dose of me that wants to say don't be surprised if it doesn't, because both are devastating finishers. But part of me believes that it will. One, the stakes are so high, I think you're going to see the best out of both guys. But I think that Velasquez and Dos Santos, while they're going to be eager for the kill, they're not going to be reckless about it. You only get one chance maybe to fight on Fox in your life. You never know. Mm-hmm. And you really only get so many title opportunities. I think they're going to have a game plan where they're going to wait for their moment, and if they have to wait a few rounds, so be it. I also think, as I mentioned before, Velasquez is going to have the kind of game plan where he's going to accumulate points over time, which isn't to say he may not. Either guy can finish either guy. I need to be very clear about that. But I have a hunch that this one, if it doesn't go to the 5th round, it'll go to the 4th. It's so strange, it has the potential to end in 5 seconds. It really does. Either guy can punch it when lights out. But I just feel like these two competitors are going to have a really defined, not rigid, but clear focus about what their purpose is that evening, and they're going to take their time in executing it.
So, Luke, the final burning question I ask you, the Luke Thomas, the senior editor of SB Nation, the host of MMA Nation, who do you have in this fight? No pressure.
A lot of times I just don't know. In the co-main event, I really don't know. Ben Henderson, Clay Guida. For this one, I'm going to go to Velasquez. I'm going to say that I believe he has the cardio to get it done, and I think he's going to break him over the course of 5 rounds. I think that's going to be the difference.
So you don't think it'll end? You think that he will win by decision?
I think he will win by decision. That's correct.
All right. You have it there. Luke Thomas, Senior editor of SB Nation, host of MMA Nation. I'm 106.7 The Fan. Very quickly, where can they find you online, Luke?
Just get at me on Twitter. You can find all my work there, twitter.com/SBN Luke Thomas.
There you go. Luke, thank you very much for the time as always. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Ben Mankiewicz along with Rookie Mankiewicz, and Rookie has an important message for you.
Subscribe to TYT Sports, bitches.